We talked about the SEC Statistical Bulletin. Here's a copy of the first edition of that program that was launched this week. And this is something that Jide Ogunso, someone very well known for data, has described as dousing the war on truth. But the Commission believes that it's the localized source of information to the investing public. I'm trying to quote the Director General of the SEC, Mr. Mounir Gwarzo, whom I also had a one-on-one interview with after the launch of the bulletin. Let's listen.
This is the first time in the history of the capital market that SEC is launching a statistical bulletin. We have realized the importance of data in driving this economy, particularly in creating all these initiatives in the capital market. And also, more importantly, one of the key ingredients of data is in terms of its accuracy. So one of the reasons why we've launched this statistical data is to ensure that this market has a one-stop place where data can be gotten. And that data that will be gotten with some high level of accuracy. Unlike in the past where you get data about the capital market from probably central bank, from SEC, from NSC, from some operators that are also operating the market. We're not saying that we're going to prevent them from providing that data, but we're saying that we'll also collect that data and we would subject those data to a thorough scrutiny to ensure that we harmonize that data. And it's going to be open to the public. What we did yesterday was to launch the statistical bulletin, but subsequent bulletins would be in electronic form where people can just key into the necessary website and be able to download or read any information that they require. So it's very important because there's no economy that would grow without having data. There's no capital market that will grow without having data. So the essence of the statistical data is for the capital market to have an avenue where people can go and get data. It's very sad today that if people want unauthentic data, the best place is to go to an international website, international organization to get their data. And we think that is not the right thing. We believe that SEC is in the right position to provide that, and that's why we did it.
So how does it really differ from what the National Bureau of Statistics currently produces?
Ours is going to be very comprehensive. The focus is going to be on capital market, but the capital market also operates within the ecosystem of the economy. So the focus is going to be on the capital market, but in looking at the capital market, we're also going to focus on the economy, particularly on other macroeconomic variables, the inflation rate, the interest rates, the exchange rate, that we believe are critical elements for driving the economy. We're also going to be taking into consideration any decision taken by the MPC. What is the implication if there's going to be an increase or decrease in interest rate to the growth of the capital market? What is the implication of maintaining certain rates on the exchange rate, on the treasury bills and what have you? So the uniqueness about us is, even though it's going to be focused on the capital market, but like I said, it's going to be very holistic. It's going to also take into consideration other economic variables, which largely the Office of Statistics focus on. But ours will also take data that are released by the Office of Statistics and cascade them and steward its implication to the growth of the Nigerian capital market.
During the launch of the statistical bulletin, the launcher, who is Jide Ogunso, a very well-known person for data, talked about the fact that there is war on truth in the Nigerian capital markets, where you have fake news against real news. How does this statistical bulletin address this challenge?
That's why I said data is very important. And I also underline the fact that, but the accuracy of the data is what is critical. It's not just about having data. In fact, if you have a data that is not accurate, it is even a disadvantage. It's better you don't have that data. And you cannot plan without data. So like what he said is the accuracy of that information. And that is why we feel it is important for SEC to take the driver's seat. Rather than what we have now is you have data from different segments of the society. Before we release our data, we'll be able to do all the necessary checks, we'll do all the necessary validation to ensure that the accuracy of the data. And the choice of Babaji Jiride, a lot of people were very happy. He's someone that, like I said, anytime I see him on channels analyzing data, if my intention is to go and do something, I will refuse doing that and I will say that because I saw him as a young man that has a full of ideas, that has that capacity of analyzing data, and we feel he's the right person to do it. Also, we have to also encourage the young ones to also grow. And he's a young man, he's a young boy, but with a lot of resources, a lot of information, a lot of insights on how the essence of data and how that data is going to be analyzed. And we have seen, how he reviewed the statistical data. Everything was on his head. He spoke eloquently and accurately, and also underline why it is important for the capital market to have this data.
But exactly what is the credibility of the collectors of this data, miners, that you have at the SEC?
We're trying to fortify the division that has responsibility in doing that. The guy that is heading that division, Dr. Afolabi, he's a specialist in that area. He actually has a PhD in microeconometrics, which basically deals with data analysis, data collection, and whatever. So it's his core area, and by the nature of his academic background and his working experience, he is at home with the modalities of collecting data and analyzing data. I understand what you're saying because it's a very challenging job, but we're also working so hard to also upscale the capacity in that division so that they can be able to meet up with the demand that will come up as we move forward.
The Director General of the SEC, Mr. Mounir Gwarzo. Let's look at what we've got next week. We see the DMO, Debt Management Office, coming up with primary market auction, and over 135 billion naira will be auctioned to investors next week. I guess that's put for Wednesday or thereabouts. Some companies should also be visiting the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We do hope to bring you updates on the discussions that they will be having with the executive management of the NSE. That's the 32nd edition of Capital Markets this week. I'm Temple Ashaju. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.